well-pitched game. Crest moved the ball around nicely the entire time. The defense, I thought, was very supportive of what he was doing. And he just continued to lengthen it, and the ball was in play, and we were defending that. I thought Holtz, we started to see him get back into that rhythm, and we need him to get into that rhythm. We saw the breaking ball, the spin on it. It's off the chart spin. When he starts to land that, we know where that can take us. And then Joe, that's as good as I've ever seen him. I mean, that's a 95, 96, explosive fastball. The slider was really good. He did throw one of his curveballs, but the fastball and the life, just the consistency, and hopefully he can repeat those type of dynamic outings. That would be a jolt for us in the bullpen. Miles was really the story of this. It's just the physicality and the ability to backspin the ball. And just the pitch selection, I think we're seeing him learn and manage the at-bats a little better, and the defensive play at first base is really a plus. I think it just blends in, and when your catcher and your first baseman blend in, it usually means they're doing a nice job. And I thought the play he made down the line and some of the plays he made on not crazy stretches, but accurate stretching to create the proper angle to make the catch easy. Lodice's play, it reminded me of Derek Jeter. That was just the range. I had a great angle of that, and honestly off the bat I thought Fisher may get to it, and that's how far Lodice was in the hole, and the athleticism and the body awareness to pull that off. There aren't many people in the game that have ever been able to do that. So that's a good team. Like they beat Notre Dame in a game, and I think last week the game at Florida was very close. So they're talented, and they had some guys that were actually in our program that looked nice out there tonight, and good for them, and a good win for our team against a very well-coached, solid team.
You mentioned last week that we would know when Miles gets all the ball. Lefty, 437 the other way. Was that him getting all the ball?
He said no.
Really?
I think he said he really got under the first one, but with that wind pushing that was weird wind today. I don't know that I'd seen that aggressively this time of year to left field. And then he said he got the second one off the end of the bat. There's been one he's hit since I've been with him that I knew he absolutely got. Now, sometimes when you backspin it like that, the backspin creates some carry, and it doesn't feel like you flush it maybe as much, but the ball can still clearly carry. But they were impacted, and just the timing and the depth of contact and the natural path he has that allows him to do that, it's rare. I mean, it's fun to watch.
When a kid is that young and raw, do you have a really detailed sort of plan for him, or do you just kind of let the natural talent rise to the surface?
Well, there's a pretty detailed attack of the mental side of what we're trying to do when we hit, and then everybody has their own unique swing, and you're trying to manage and grow the swing in a different way than you're trying to manage and force feed some of the universal thoughts of pitch selection and what to look for and what to try to take. So the approach side, I think we're much more aggressive with everybody than maybe changing and overhauling the swings. I think on any team you'll see a lot of different looks of how people stand and how they load and how they actually swing, and some of that is just their natural tendency and how their body works and their physicality and just the levers and the actions that they have in the swing. So we try to manage that one way, and I think we're probably far more aggressive holistically with the mental side and the approach to what we're doing, and then we fine-tune the physical stuff.
It seemed like Miles was trending in the right direction before the first homer on Saturday, but maybe even has loosened up even more since. How much, the hometown guy, the freshman, how much can that first homer kind of be the release valve of letting off the pressure he might have been putting on himself?
There's probably a lot of pressure to that, and I did think about that when it happened, because he's waited his whole life to play here, and one of the reasons he is here and will go beyond this program is to hit balls over the fence. So that needs to be part of his game, and it clearly will be. Watching him hit balls through the shortstop, left center, center field, right field fence, scoreboard, you're starting to see a pretty good spray chart of well-struck balls. It's not just pulled, it's not just it's a good sign, and there's a lot of growth that needs to happen, and you just hope that there's streakiness in this, and you just hope as we continue to grow and he matures with the at-bats and faces just a variety of arms that he's going to see, that the minor things are still in this realm where it's really good quality of at-bat throughout the course of weeks and weekends and games.
With BJ Gibson's base stealing, do you think he hit full speed during the game?
It's tough to say on a base stealing maneuver. I think he hit a ball to right center field. He doubled, didn't he? That's probably like somewhere in that home to second. It's probably top end speed. I think it's tricky for a base runner to get the top speed, like when you're dead standstill and then you're having to slide. So I don't know if we have the technology with our system. I don't think we have it right now. I think that's coming, where we can probably gauge that, but my guess would be on the double, yes. On the stolen base, probably not.
How big has the addition of the cutter been for Evan? How have you seen it develop over the last few months?
That's huge, and it's the profile of that. It can play up, it can play down, it can play to lefties, and it can play to righties. So it's got a really good profile, and it's hard. I mean, it's 87. He might have thrown one at 90, so it's 87 to 90. And it complements the changeup really well. And then he has two different fastball. I'm not putting the cutter in the fastball family. He's got the two-seamer, and every once in a while he'll try to ride the four-seamer up. So it's a really good plot of pitches that he has. And there's still times today, I think there were 3 times that I can think of off the top of my head that he probably got barreled a little bit in counts that in locations where you should not be barreled. So if we can, it happened to him last week also, if we can move past some of those, to be honest with you, maybe they don't score if the pitch that the guy hit in the gap is where it should have been. And it happened to him 3 times in a game. So those loud contacts in 2-strike counts stand out to him, and I think it's a good lesson, and it'll allow him to keep growing and keep progressing with his craft.
When you look at the middle infield and you've got Alex making the plays that he does, and Drew made that double play today, what he did in the 9th last game, what does it say about their development out there in the field?
I mean, you can't ask for more than what they have shown in their progression. Faro's play on the 1-4-3 was equally as difficult and maybe more off script than what Lodis did. Lodis's play was absolutely spectacular, but as a second baseman, the 1-4-3 is a tricky one to begin with, and Holtz fed him that ball a little aggressive. It was a little too quick, and for him to have the wherewithal to still manage to take that throw and stay on the bag and not try to do too much on the back end to get rid of it on the pivot. That was as good a play as you can see in the middle infield on any sort of pivot ever. And it may be at the top of my charts on pivots. And I told him that. That's a left-handed pitcher. He probably threw that ball 85 miles an hour running away from you. Just beautiful. Like, proud of those guys. They work hard. Like, we push those guys in the infield to be good at this. And there was some stuff that no matter how hard we work at it, those are some things that are probably beyond what you even get chances to do in practice, and they executed it.
Lodis legs out that double in the 6th in a 7-1 game and takes that collision. What does it say about him as a captain and his character, just never taking a play off and, always being aggressive and going 100%?
Yeah, you checked all the boxes. I was just like, please get up, And we've talked about the sliding, and you guys that cover practice, you're out there. I got the sliding mats this year so that we could actually work on it and try to play a better, safer brand of base running. I knew we were going to have to run, and I was upset with Gage. He had the base clearly, of the stolen bases we had, that was the one that was outright clearly stolen, and it was such an awkward slide, and I couldn't wrap my head around whether he didn't think he was going to slide or got caught in between how he was going to slide or how he got tangled up. So I was glad Lodis got up, and Gage, you had it. So, yeah, Lodis, let's go, let's get up, let's continue, and then Gage almost hurt himself just, in a weird way. So.
Do you have an idea who's going to start tomorrow?
Mike and I are going to talk about it. We had an idea before the game, and then I think we're probably in check, but I'd like to hold back on that just till we break it down a little bit more.
Kind of following up on that, how do you manage these next 24 hours, especially with the little bit of weather uncertainty?
Well, the tarp is going on right now, and I think the last time I looked, it was supposed to ease through here pretty quickly in the morning, right? And so I think we're okay. The guys come here to play. Like, they want to play, and this is a chance to do what they want to do. And we've got some arms, and when you get an outing like that out of your starting pitcher on Tuesday, it sure makes things easier as you look to move into the Wednesday game, because you have some good options left in the bullpen. And then when you look at your starting pitching moving into the weekend, you feel better about the maturity of those guys backtracking into what Wednesday might feel like. So this went well for us in a difficult week to then try to move into managing a Wednesday game.
You mentioned the resume starts for you guys game one. Last year you guys were the last team standing, I think, for suffering the first loss of the season, and right now you're one of the teams that's still winning games. And what does it just say about this program? Is it you pushing them? Is these guys pushing each other, that every single day you guys come to the ballpark, it's to win, and it means, and it matters?
Well, we talked about this weekend, and the roster build and all of the recruiting. It's years of recruiting. Then you have the draft, and some of the recruiting for years is undone when the draft strikes. And we had clearly really talented players in this program that were gone, and then you have recruits that don't always make it to campus. And where you land with that, the management of everything that goes into getting the team into the locker room to start the fall, that is a huge part of it. If you don't get that right, it's going to be hard to have the look you want when you do play the first game. If you get that right, then you hope that you've pressed them enough and had competitive practices. The roster construction gives you the most competitive practice you can possibly have if you get the roster right. So I feel like, and we're completely banged up. Now to say where the roster is on paper and how damaging it's been to play a dozen games, positionally more than anything, you hope you can survive that. But out of the gate, I think we checked a lot of nice boxes there. I like the roster. I think we're fairly athletic, and we tried to grab more pitching depth. And you have players that have been in the program that are clearly better, and you added some nice pieces. So if you do all that and you try to coach them and prepare them, you should come out of the gate with a good foot forward to try to play quality baseball from pitch one. And we have done that. I'm not happy with all aspects of the game. There's some things I see that are not clicking on all cylinders. But all in all, like, it's not easy to do what we've done so far. But I still think there's more to be had in some of the offensive capacities.
Thanks.